All right, welcome back, everybody. We got our Tarkov TV yesterday. I watched it. I watched it a ton. I've actually watched it 3 times now. Why it takes me a little longer to do these is because I like to pour through them and catch the little stuff and get everything into a video so you guys can get all caught up without having to watch like 4 videos from me. There's a ton of info here. It's not just repeat stuff either. We got clarifications on some stuff that we've never gotten clarifications for, like talking about a Steam release, weapon painting, even a new secure container. There's also a handful of new things that we hadn't heard about, and we got full-on videos showing us stuff. Now, don't mind the sunburn. You can laugh about it all you want. I was outside all day yesterday at the range, and I obviously didn't put enough sunscreen on, and I'm paying for it now. So it's not a camera issue. I am actually tomato red, arms, heads, hand, the whole 9 deal. It's kind of funny, but that's what's going on with that. So feel free to poke fun at me in the comments. I try to do them about once a month, go out, stream, and go to the range, and that way people can just kind of hang out, watch, ask questions if they need to. You know, if they want to see me do something that's safe and interesting to them, we can try to arrange it and just do that kind of stuff. So don't hesitate to go check me out over on Twitch if you're interested in that. Now for this video, I'm going to break it down into 3 parts. First, we'll go over the roadmap. I'll just go over the whole thing. And if there's any specific videos or clips Nikita talked about with the items in there, we'll include those. And then I'm going to go over the detailed stuff that Nikita talked about and showed that maybe wasn't specifically called out on the roadmap. Like there's some quality of life features that were all just lumped into one line, but worth mentioning and talking about. And then lastly, we'll kind of go over the constant Q&A Nikita did throughout the whole podcast, where he was just answering questions from chat. There was a lot of tidbits and little things in there that were interesting. It's kind of hard to parse through what was bullshit and Nikita just trolling versus what is serious. And even stuff that I think is serious could be wrong, but I'll put it in front of you and you can be the judge of it. Okay, so first up is the roadmap. I'll zoom in here up in the top left so that you guys can see it a little bit better. I'll throw a link to this down in the description so you guys can see it for yourself if you want to download it and look at it. The first thing we'll talk about, I guess, actually will be the wipes. Those are the big things. There's going to be a wipe in August, and it looks like December, though that could change, obviously. The one in August is not known yet. Now, some people are going to say, if you go to the, and we'll talk about these ratings in a little bit, there's a little timer here, and it says 41 days. That is, I guess you could say that could be the wipe. I don't think it is, and that's for a big reason. I don't think BSG knows when wipe date is even. So it's not like this thing that they're keeping secret, which they kind of do. It's more that they have to wait through the whole development process to get everything ready, and then they can finally say they're ready for wipe. And that's usually when we get the, at least in my opinion, that's when we get like the really heavy pre-wipe events where the game just goes crazy for like a week or 2. So that's going to be in August, and we're going to get all this stuff in green in August, and then a bunch of other stuff will happen in the August to what'll be a December wipe. So we're going to have what is the, I believe, the longest wipe Tarkov's ever had. That's what we're in right now, which means that the next one is going to be one of the shortest. There are shorter wipes out there. I didn't go back and look because it doesn't really matter that much. I believe there's a couple of wipes out there that were like 2 months or 90 days or something like that, years and years gone by. But as far as the 6-month cycle we've been in for over 3 years now, this will be the shortest wipe we've had, at least the one going into December. The other big thing I want to mention is Unity. People are really hung up on this for some reason, and I'm not sure why. This isn't going to impact the gameplay all that much. This is mostly for BSG side of things, dev tools and things like that. There are some things that could affect us, but it's not going to be this massive change. But people are pretty hung up on it for some reason. But Nikita said, let me read the quote here. Due to engine technical limitations, which were overcome together with Unity, which means BSG had to work with Unity to overcome some issues they were having that pushed Unity 2021 into next wipe. So it looks like we're going to... Excuse me, it looks like we're going to see it mid-wipe. And that's kind of what these bars mean. If you look at it like from left to right here, this is kind of a timeline, though I wouldn't get in here and like measure this and be like, this is 73 days after August, because that's not how this is going to work. This is just kind of roughly how they have it stacked out, probably in weeks or something like that. But the things like this recoil rework, right? It's going to happen before we see preset magazine ammo loading in that December wipe. But we'll talk about that more in a little bit. Let me get through this upcoming wipe, what's on the actual preliminary roadmap here. So first thing we've got is loadout presets. Now we did get this short little video during the stream of them showing, but it's not anything really, I think, representative of what we're going to see with the presets for the kits. It was more of like a TikTok, YouTube video, kind of funny meme-ish thing that they did. But the idea is going to be one click. You click on one thing and it's going to not just put it on your character, but if you need certain items, it'll buy all those and put it all together. So that way you're not spending a lot of time hunting through your stash, trying to find items. You can just get right back into a raid with the kit that you want to get in. Now, the interesting thing is going to be is how many of these presets are we going to have? You know, are we going to have to unlock more of them? Does EOD, are they going to give more to EOD than non-EOD? All those questions are unanswered. I think we'll have to wait and see. But it's a good addition that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to. I'm kind of a weirdo about it, but part of with me, the preset thing is going to take away some of the, I don't know what the right word of is. It's going to take Tarkov away, because that little bit of shitty grind of having to put kits together and find stuff is part of Tarkov. And while I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I don't want him to go take it away, I am going to miss it. So it will be good to have presets, but there's going to be a whole era gone from Tarkov that has been around since the beginning, basically. Now, next up is random loot container spawns. This is something I've been talking about for over 6 months now. They did a YouTube video, kind of another meme-ish one. It didn't show us any great detail. Nobody really knows what this means right now. We don't know. Does this mean that like containers, they maintain their current locations, but sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not? Or does this mean that all the same number of containers on a map are always there? They just show up in different places? Is it some mix of the thing? You know, how is this going to affect Jaeger stashes? All of that stuff is yet to be determined. So that's going to be a big part of the next wipe for us all to experience and figure out. Now, another really big one they talked about is limb selection healing. And I don't know exactly how this is going to work. My assumption is, like right there, he just used a Soleil where you're going to hold 4 or you're going to hold 5 right here, and it's going to bring a drop down. And then you're going to use your mouse wheel to select which limb you want to heal based on the med you're using. This is huge. This is really big, because it used to be that you had to open your inventory and you'd have to drag like if you wanted to heal your chest or your thorax, you'd have to drag the med over there, or whatever you were doing. You know, if you have a bleed or something, the meds tend to prioritize that bleed, whereas if you healed your thorax through the bleed, you'd be better. All sorts of those issues are going to go away. This is a huge quality of life feature, one I'm super excited to see. And then they also mentioned headlights, the flashlights on your helmets, which are kind of like headlights, I guess. You're going to be able to put these on now, and more than one kind. You can do this right now. You can put them on. You have to turn the flashlight on your gun, then you have to take it off and put it on the helmet, and it's just a pain in the ass. So this is coming. There's going to be a toggle switch for this. It's kind of meme-ish. I don't know how much utility this is really going to have, simply because the light point's down, right? Like you can see here in the film, he's walking, his ADS is up kind of level, but the camera is kind of down at his feet at like maybe a 30-degree angle or something. So I don't know how huge that's going to be. I know it's something some people are excited for. It's coming. It'll be something to see if there is a use for it or not. Now, we're also getting this sell all feature for scav runs to fence, which means you do your scav run and you don't want to screw around with everything. You're just going to grab what you need, and then you just click sell all and it'll sell everything to fence, and you don't have to worry about inventory management, which is really cool, because sometimes you have a full inventory and you want to get through that. They also mentioned a crafting status indicator, which is kind of already there. He didn't explain this in great detail. It'll be interesting to see how it is, but basically it's just a little bar that shows up that shows you how you've progressed on completing your craft. Being a different color, it used to be white, now it's green. Cool. Now, next up was the pistol fast draw. And exactly how this functions, I'm not sure if it's going to be some kind of option you do, or if it's just based on malfunctions or what it is, but you're going to be able to pull your pistol out very quickly. And the difference here is they kind of show how fast it is, but you're also going to have more like wobbly sights on the fast draw. Your sights are going to wobble around versus the very steady ADS. So that's going to be the trade-off. Now, another huge quality of life thing is going to be the trader UI overhaul they've done. It's going to reduce clicks, how many clicks it takes to get around from different traders when you're trying to sell stuff, buy stuff, when you're trying to do tasks. Instead of the traders, the selling and stuff being a submenu under the traders themselves are going to be a submenu under trading and tasks and stuff like that, which I think is a big deal. It's going to be super cool. It's going to reduce the amount of clicks. It's just more quality of life stuff that's making the game better. And it's honestly, it's long overdue. Now, the roadmap shows here that there's more quality of life features. Does this mean that they talked about them and or that there's some they didn't talk about? I don't know. We talked about a few. There could be more coming. They just didn't mention them in the podcast. We'll see. Nikita does like to leave surprises for the patch, things that people didn't know were coming. So they're, oh, look at that. It's cool. You know, he enjoys that. That's one of his deals. Also, Streets of Tarkov expansion is coming. Now, we've seen some screenshots of this. There's lots of them. And some of the guys like Nice Guy have done some pretty big layouts on where he thinks it's going. I don't really know. I didn't really look into it. I kind of like to be surprised about that, so I didn't go digging into it too much. I looked at the screenshots, said cool looking, and we'll wait to see where they expand to. But On streets itself, what we have right now is only about somewhere between a quarter and a third of the entire map, based on what Nikita has said in the past. And we're going to get several more iterations and expansions as they put the whole map together, as they get the tech caught up and everything like that and balanced. And it'll be different sizes. You know, one expansion might only be a block, a couple of buildings, and you might get another one that's even bigger than the original streets. You know, think Woods. When Woods is expanded, the expansion area was bigger than the original map. So we're going to see that as we go through more. This is just the second iteration. It'll be cool because Streets is already an awesome map. I'm interested to see which side we're going to expand to on this one, what we're going to get more access to. On top of that, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit with that expansion. That means we're going to be getting the boss Kaban. And I think most of the assumption is, and I think the safest one is this is going to be the boss at Lexos. And Lexos is kind of like a hub now. Everybody goes to Lexos for loot and fighting and that. This is going to make Lexos one of the most dangerous places in the game, at least according to what Nikita said. So if that all pans out, it's going to completely change how you move around streets and where you loot. Now, there was a mention of new equipment and armor. We didn't really see any good screenshots of this other than the armor system, which I'll talk about, and that might be part of it because there's new equipment there, but it changed the armor system. But we almost always get new rigs, new armors, some new backpacks, things like that. I imagine we'll be getting that kind of stuff with the patch as well. Now, we also got a sneak peek at some of the weapons that are coming. This might be all of them that we're getting. It probably isn't. They always sneak a couple in there that we don't know about. I guess not always, but a lot of times they do. But the first is going to be the AK-12. I don't know a lot about the AK platforms. There's some people that are super hyped about this gun coming. It looks like some kind of bastard child of an RPK and a regular AK to me, but that's just me as a non-AK guy. We're also going to be getting the SVT and AVT-40, which if you don't know what these are potentially going to be the ultimate scav low-level player Chad Slayer gun, because this is kind of like an think of a SVD mixed with a SKS. It's kind of what they are. So they shoot 7.62 by 54R. So all of those high-end ammos, one of them can be shot fully automatic. One of them, obviously you saw sights and stuff on it. They are going to be a very powerful addition to lower level players. And I imagine it's going to be a scav gun, but we'll see. We also got a quick sneak peek at a sawed-off shotgun, which just looks like it's the MP43 that's really short barrel. I'm guessing this is going to put it at 3 slots. It might be a secondary, though I doubt it. It would be cool if it was, like this goes in the pistol slot versus the a normal slot. But if it's like a 3 slot, that means you can actually put it in your rigs and hotkey it and kind of treat it like a secondary, and it doesn't take up a whole weapon thing. It's going to be easy to access, cheap to throw out, and a good, like, oh shit, last minute kill somebody gun. The PM pistols, not just the PM pistols, but all of the 9x18 Russian pistols, the PM, the PB, the AP, what I can't remember what the other one is. They all looks like they all got like new animations and stuff, which is cool. I mean, I don't think that's cost anything in dev time or anything like that. It's a different division working on it, because I don't think any of these have been adjusted in many years. There's some of the original guns in the game, and I think they have been the same since. So this was just a refresh and update to get old weapons and tech caught up with all the new stuff. Now, last but most certainly not least, we got the PKM, which is a belt-fed weapon, which we've been waiting for a long time. Full-on machine gun. This shoots the same round as the Mosin, the 7.62 by 54R, so it is going to hit like a truck. I mean, you imagine putting SNB in this, and just, it'd be expensive, but you're going to be able to shoot freaking through just about whole rows of armored Chads if you had it. This is going to be a boss gun, so I expect it to kind of be like Big Pipe's automatic grenade launcher, or an automatic grenade launcher is semi-automatic grenade launcher that he shoots. It's not going to be common. It's going to be really rare. It's going to be hard to operate. Probably not going to be very accurate. It's going to be heavy. All of those things to balance it out, because this will be an incredible weapon in Tarkov if you get your hands on it. Now, something mentioned here that we did see a screenshot very briefly of is a weapon stand in the hideout. I think this is going to be extra hideout space, places you can put your weapons, maybe like fully assembled guns. You can put like 5 or 6 of them on there, and just like your loadouts, they're just quick and easy to access. You know, maybe they're kind of a showpiece in your hideout. So like if you want to show off, you got Zerachi's, whatever his name is, his gun, you can put it up there, and it's just kind of a showpiece in your hideout. Who knows? More quality of life stuff. I'm all for it. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited to see where they're going to go with this. Now, one thing that isn't talked about right here is this whole new location line. It wasn't mentioned. Nobody said anything about it. At least I didn't catch it. This tells me that they're working on a new map, which would make sense. That, you know, they've did Lighthouse and some of these other maps while they were working on Streets, that we are still going to get Terminal. You know, we need Terminal is one of the many maps that is projected in the game, but one that is actually needed for Tarkov to go live, simply because it's where you escape Tarkov based on the lore of the story. So I'll be keeping an eye on this. I'm very interested to see what this line is. It's something they're working on. Doesn't look like we're gonna get anytime soon, but maybe we get lucky. Now that the generic quest rebalancing's in here, this is just something they do every wipe. They kind of shuffle the quests around, maybe change some of the rewards, how they progress or how you sequence through them, just to try to keep the game fresh for people that play the game for a living or play it a lot, or they're like 5 years of Tarkov or whatever and they're still playing it. That's pretty much what that's about. Though some of the other, they do balance some of the lower level quests. Glass shader optimizations, just something Nikita's talked about. It's one of the biggest hurdles for Streets. Is breakable glass, I guess, is really resource intensive, and Streets has a ton of it. So that's one of the problems they've been working for. But once they work through that and optimize it, every map will work better, obviously. Light source processing optimization, just lighting stuff, it looks like. Various technical and functional adjustments, stuff they keep going on. Like we just yesterday, we had another technical patch before this, the Tarkov TV. So they've been pretty steady with these technical patches, fixing stuff, addressing some of the frame issues, things like that. And then lastly here, for this patch, for the August wipe patch, we got the AI behavior improvements, which is good. Those are things that we always want to see. And the AI get better and more engaging and more fun to fight against. Now, something that stretches across all of this, we got the client performance optimizations. That's just the ongoing. That's kind of the same thing here as the various technical functional adjustments. The Unity 2021 that we talked about, it looks like it's going to be kind of the middle of next wipe. So, you know, October, November, maybe December, we'll just have to wait and see. New matchmaker. We got a brief blurb about this on Twitter from them. They've had people run it on the ETS to test it. And so hopefully this will get matchmaking times down, prevent from having less full lobbies, other things like that. And then the constant battle to fix the back end, deal with anti-cheat, and improve the launcher of the game. So that's just something they're always working on. So it just kind of got a line item here that just stretches across everything. Now, some of the bigger things I want to talk about here that are coming after this next patch, that'll be coming throughout the patch and as we get into the December wipe. Preset magazine ammo loading. This is super cool. Something that's going to affect me a lot with the way I play. I stack ammo and mags. I did a whole video on it. Feel free to go check it out if you want to understand why. But this will make life just better in the hideout when you're putting mags together and getting ammo reloaded. There's going to be a recoil rework. This has got the community fucking going bonkers right now because Nikita showed a thing that he said was a work in progress and is just, don't pay too much attention to it. We're just kind of going through ideas, and then people run with it like this is what we're going to be putting the game here in 3 months. I don't even know what to say. We don't even know what there is in there. The guy doesn't sound like the guy was even correcting for recoil. We don't know what they're thinking, what they're testing, what they have turned on, what they have turned off. There's so many things that have to do with recoil that getting upset about what, or even happy about what you saw in that quick clip we got from Nikita doesn't make any sense. Now, since then, we got a tweet from Clean. He said he checked with Battlestate Games and they are going to be putting the recoil changes on the ETS. I poked and said, well, what about the NDA? You know, it doesn't do it. In my opinion, something like this isn't going to do a lot of good to be on the NDA because then people can't really talk about it and hash out the good ideas and the bad ideas and come up with a better final product. And Clean kind of hinted at it with a meme. So hopefully we'll get to see this on the ETS. We can actually have some engagement and steer the game in a direction where we all want to see it go. Well, I can't say all because Tarkov players can't agree with anything, but maybe at least we can find some middle ground somewhere. But that looks like we'll be expecting that early on after the next wipe. It'll be mid-wipe sometime. It looks like that's their plan. Armor customization and reworked armor hitboxes with hit registration. Now, going based on what they shared, they're moving further and further, and we're going to have different kinds of armor plates, which makes sense because armors, like this Thor armor they're showing here, you're going to have different armors like on your shoulders and the crotch area than you are the chest and the back and the side plates. It's all going to be different, not just kinds of armor, but classes and stuff like that. But they're looking on that. As you can see, this armor has it has like 12 slots or 15 slots for different armor for like the neck, the arms, the abdomen, the chest, all that kind of stuff, the sides. And this is where we're getting into these more hit boxes. There's going to be all these additional hit boxes in the game, including like multiple chest hit boxes, it looks like. So here he's got this player's got a slick on with that doesn't have any side armor, and he shot him with a pistol and it blacked the stomach, but the chest ate it. This one's really important, and I'm going to go back here real quick on that because that is super important. I want you guys to see what happened here and point that out, because if you look, you can see that he's aimed right on the guy's chest above armor, and it one-tapped him as a thorax shot. So you are going to have weak spots in the armor where like he got shot in the neck here, where if it's not covered by the armor, the bullet's going to get through. There's a lot of people that are hating this, and honestly, I don't give a shit. If you don't like this stuff in the game, in Tarkov, and what they're putting in the game, they've talked about this forever. So if this isn't for you, hopefully Arena will be, because this is what Tarkov's going to be, guys. And if you don't like this, then maybe Tarkov's not the game for you, because these weak spots are going to have a huge impact on the balance of ammo, what weapons are useful. You know, as long as you can land shots in weak spots, you know, you shoot a guy in the side with a shotgun, whatever you do, you are going to be able to take down even heavily geared players if they're not wearing proper protection. Sounds like a condom commercial, but it still applies. So blowing through the rest of these real quick. Vaulting, we've seen lots on that. That's coming. They've got some pretty good animations on it. From what I've seen so far, I like it. It is going to be buggy when they first introduce it. All the jokes about people yeeting themselves into different maps because it glitches. As well as the blind fire. We saw some clips of that on our last podcast recap we did. Weapon bipods are huge. This has a potential, and mounting has a potential to really affect a lot of different kinds of gameplay, especially with LMGs and sniper rifles. So that's going to be cool to see those. The BTR on streets, which we've seen clips of that for years now, is going to be like a taxi system to get around streets, if you will, get you from point A to point B, and you might even be able to use the gun. I'm guessing that we're going to get a very basic version of it when we first get it, which means you get in it and it'll take you to the other side of the map safely, cross by the scav bosses and all that stuff. But that just shows you how big streets is going to be getting, that you need a taxi to get around on it. So that's cool. Lightkeeper services. Now, I won't pull up Nikita's chat about this, but basically you're going to have a lot of unique items, services, stuff like that Lightkeeper is going to have. So that's super cool. We'll have to wait and see. He sucks to get out to. He's very difficult. Fewer people get Lightkeeper than get Kappa. So maybe as Lightkeeper gets more introduced, he's more accessible. I don't know. But we'll find out next wipe for sure once they add that, which looks like about mid-wipe. And then they're already planning on doing the third expansion of streets by the end of this wipe, that's crazy. The fact that they're going to be throwing the maps together this big. Hopefully their tech advancements and the hardware can hold up and the map can run properly, but we'll see. Left shoulder shooting kind of goes in with the blind fire stuff. It's just the left shoulder shooting is going to be one of the biggest game changers though. Being able to switch and get past that whole right hand peak meta, if you will. I don't worry about it too much, but some people live and die by it. But it's just going to make you more flexible in all sorts of engagements and fighting. So that's cool. And it's something Nikita himself said he was the most excited for. That's what he was the most excited for. We're also going to be getting more weapons, the RPD, which is another machine gun, the SCAR GL, which we already have technically. The GL40 in the game is meant for the SCAR. It's just not bolted to it. But even though we got the other grenade launchers, we don't have this one mounted. So I'm not sure how that works, why it's taking so long, but looks like that's coming at the end of next wipe. And then the SIG Spear, which really surprised me. I can't believe they're adding this weapon, but we'll see how they do it, because that means they're going to have to, I think that means they're going to have to add a new ammo. Not necessarily so, but I would hope they would, because kind of the big deal about the SIG Spear. The 9A91 and the VSK94, two guns they've showed stuff in the past as well. And then a new unannounced boss that has been hinted at, probably Kaban's brother maybe. Chronicles originally hinted at it. I don't want to get too much into the goop on it for this video. And then adding achievements, which I think is kind of cool. Just more stuff for people to work towards as we get closer to the final version of the game. And then again, more balancing changes, level, skill, weapon mastery, rebalancing, sight reticle brightness adjustments, reticle, various technical and functional adjustments, and AI behavior improvements, along with everything else they've talked about leading up into the December wipe. Jumping back real quick, I forgot one thing that's really big deal. Another quality of life features is consumable double click usage. He showed it using meds. Food and like the splint and stuff like that, you double click and it'll use it, which is huge because there's no more of this right click use kind of stuff, which is awesome. I'm assuming it's going to work for stims, which is a big deal, and painkillers and stuff like that. So exciting thing coming. Now, something that they added during the podcast, they basically turned on, was the rating system. You can get to this by going to escapefromtarkov.com and clicking on ratings, and it brings up this ratings page. This is what we have right now. We have experience, KD ratio, survival rate, average profit, kills, raids, longest shot playtime, inventory value, trading rating. Some of these are kind of buggy. Some of them are super sus. It's a fun new thing to add to the game. Try to enjoy it. If it's not something you care about, don't even look at the page because it doesn't change your life at all. Other than the aspect that Nikita mentioned, that the people who are like number one on each of these are going to get 2 extra slots in their hideout permanently forever for the rest of time on that profile. But keep this in mind. If you're somebody that can score in the top 100 KD rating, or land the longest shot, or, get the most kills between now and the wipe, you're not somebody really worried about 2 slots, I don't think. So it's kind of a nice reward. It's not something that's going to change the game forever for everybody. But I just wanted to mention it's there. You can go check it out. You can try to get on the top of the list, but there's a lot of these guys that play 12, 14 hours a day that are doing this. And unless you're one of those folks, you're going to have a hard time beating some of these ratings on here. So hopefully BSG will be able to add more categories that are more, I hate to say casual friendly, but that aren't just completely 100% for streamers to do, basically, which is kind of what it feels like right now. Now, Arena is another big one everybody's worried about. I thought we were getting, but we're not. Nikita did a quick blurb. Basically, it's pretty much ready to go, but they still want to put the finishing, polishing touches on it. But we should expect to see this fall, maybe into winter, the first iteration that is going to be for everybody to test. The original thought was that the only people who are going to test it were going to be a small selected hand group of people. Nikita did say that it's going to be an open test for everybody to use and enjoy. So that's Arena. We're just still waiting on that, of course. Now, for the rest of the podcast, Nikita basically just did kind of Q&A. He did it through the whole thing, but he went through a bunch of questions from people. He memed a lot. He joked around. He poked at people. It kind of is what it is. Let me go through the list here, kind of get you guys caught up on what was talked about versus what wasn't. Big one is Steam release. Nikita said that it will be closer to full release when they do it, but they will be doing a Steam release. So that's first confirmation we've got of that. It's the first time we've heard that. So that's kind of a big deal for some people, especially that are looking forward to that. They are planning on adding more factions. That's a for sure thing. What they are, we're not 100% sure, but yeah, Untar, I'm pretty sure is going to be one of them. Maybe some kind of Russian kind of counterpoint to the rogues, what the rogues are to USEC, maybe something like that for Bear, though I don't think that's really far guessing that that's going to happen. We're going to be able to spray paint guns, weapon skins essentially. I don't think there's not going to be anything where you're going to like pay for them, but you're going to be able to unlock skins and spray paint, like realistic kind of stuff, which people do IRL, so it's not like it's anything out of this world as long as it's not pink with rabbit ears on it or whatever the fuck the Zoomers do nowadays. There won't be any of that. So Steam release, more factions, spray painted guns, a prestige system, which is interesting. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to mean. Again, that's going to be something for streamers and hardcore players for prestiging. How that works exactly remains to be seen. One that really caught my ear is Nikita mentioned that we might be getting a new secure container with the next patch, with the next update. Like if we get a wipe, there might be a new secure container, which he has been talking about for a while, better part of 2 years from what I remember. And like they're specialized, like it might have 6 slots, or let's say it has 8 slots, right? Just like the Epsilon is, but 2 of those slots are specialty only. Like you can only put a key tool in one of those slots and that's it. And it's like off on its own in its own shape. So that's what he hit it at in the past. I'm kind of excited. I think that's cool to get multiple secure containers that could serve multiple purposes. Maybe you have a secure container that you can't put ammo in, but you can put, maybe you can put some restricted items in it, but you can't put others. And just giving more gameplay choice out there when you're running your raids and having map specific kits or mission specific kits. And then achievements. He mentioned having achievements in the game, which, that's just another game loop kind of thing that a lot of games put in there to keep people interested and give them stuff to grind towards. It kind of strikes me as fitting towards this whole rating system, something like that, where it's just stuff, crazy kind of stuff in there that you do to get the, kill somebody with a noob tube from 200 meters kind of stuff. You know, we'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be up to their, whatever their, it's just going to be up to whatever their imagination is, really. So, all right, well, that wraps it up. I am still exhausted from yesterday, so this was a long one for me to get done. Appreciate anybody hung out and watched the whole thing. I skipped over some stuff, but it was either things that were been rehashed 100 times, Nikita was joking around about and aren't really serious, or it just was, you know, this freaking, you know, fixed cheating, right? I'm not even going to talk about that kind of stuff. It's so dumb and beat to death, and there ain't changing anybody's mind on it anymore, so it just kind of is what it is. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. I hope I was able to save you some time. I'm gonna go take a nap because I'm exhausted still and tired. Old man kind of thing to do, but that's what I'm gonna do. Wish you the best of luck in your raids. Let's have a final fun month in Tarkov before the wipe, and I'm assuming you're like me and you're looking forward to the next upcoming events. We'll see you in Tarkov.